Good morning, everyone. Today we're dealing with week 14, day 3, morning nourishment. This morning, for our coffee in Christ, we're dealing with Songs of Song. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built for an armory. 1,000 bucklers hang on it, all the shields of the mighty men. Ephesians chapter 6:10. Finally, be empowered in the Lord and in the might of his strength. Song of Songs 3 tells us of the maturity of the seeking one, and chapter 4 continues by explaining how she reached such a mature stage. Eventually, she is reckoned by the Lord as Jerusalem. This is the maturity that is mentioned in chapter 3. When she becomes the palanquin, a palanquin is a miniature of the city. The city contains the Lord in a full way, and the palanquin contains the Lord on a smaller scale. Then, chapter 4 explains that such a maturity is reached by the subduing of the will. In chapter 4, verse 4, the Lord likens the seeking one's neck to the Tower of David. This hair signifies our will, and our neck also signifies our will. Those who are rebellious toward God in the Bible are called stiff-necked. So, see we that a flock of goats appearing on the mountains shows the subduing of her will, and the Tower of David illustrates how strong her will is in resurrection. First of all, our will must be subdued, then it must be strong in resurrection. The natural will must be dealt with, and then we will have a resurrected will. The crucified and the subdued will is just like a flock of goats standing on a mountain side, but the resurrected will must be like the Tower of David, builded up on an armory. Today's reading. How poetic the Song of Songs is. First, our will must be subdued. Then it will be resurrected like the Tower of David, the armory for the spiritual warfare. All the weapons for spiritual warfare are kept in our subdued and resurrected will. If our will has never been subdued by the Lord, it can never be a strong armory to keep up all the weapons for spiritual warfare. All the weapons are mostly defensive, not offensive. It is not so much a matter of going out to fight as it is a matter of standing to resist. Bucklers and shields are all for protection in order to stand. In spiritual warfare, we are not so much on the offensive as we are on the defensive, standing against all the devilish, subtle attacks of the army. Most of the items of the armor mentioned in Ephesians 6 are also defensive. There is no need for us to fight. The Lord has won the battle already. We simply need to stand and resist all the enemy's attacks. The bucklers and the shields that protect us against the arrows of the enemy are kept in the tower, which is the subdued and resurrected will of the Lord seeking one. This is the real maturity in life. And unsubdued will is, on the other hand, stubborn, and on the other hand, weak. When the enemy comes, the stubborn, unsubdued will always makes an unconditional surrender. We all knew this by our own experience. The sisters who are stubborn in the matter of submission are the first to surrender when the enemy attacks. But if we have a submissive will, a will that has been subdued like a flock of goats on a mountainside, our will is expressed like a Tower of David. When the enemy comes, our will is like the Tower of David that holds all kinds of weapons against his attack. The secret of the maturity of the seeking one is in Songs of Songs 3, is that her will has been completely subdued in the resurrected. Of all 8 figures of the seeking one in the first 3 chapters of Song of Songs, the first one, the mare, is strongest in the will, and the last one, the crown, has no will of its own at all. The mare has an exceedingly strong will, but the palanquin and the crown have no will at all. She has come out of her natural will and is now standing in her resurrected will against the enemy. She is like the Tower of David, builded as an armory for the spiritual warfare. Well, that concludes week 14, day 3. Please like and share and leave a comment below how this enlightened and inspired you. And if you have a similar life story that relates to what we read for day 3, please leave that in the comment below. I thank you everyone for listening. And I'm sorry, I think I am coming down with a cold. Please have a wonderful day and God bless you all.